How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Tom Lee just said something insane for XRP. It could be so bullish for XRP. We're talking $160 XRP if what he says is true and if we make some assumptions here. Let's talk about this. If you don't mind, though, hit subscribe so that I know that you guys like videos like this and you want to see future videos. You can also hit the like button too if you've already subscribed. Also, if you want to trade crypto, there's a link to BYDeFi underneath the video. This platform allows you to do something that many other platforms don't, which is you can do this thing called CoinM trading, which allows you to trade crypto with the underlying collateral. So for example, after you sign up with my link and get the 20 to 60% deposit bonus, you can go over to CoinM, you can deposit XRP onto the platform, and then you can trade XRP with XRP as collateral. I'll explain why you would want to do this, but it's super easy to set up. Let's say I want to put 75% of my XRP into this trade. I can hit long. You can see I'm going to buy at $2.15. I'm going to buy 405 XRP, and I can use about one third of that to open the position. So leverage just allows you to get access to more crypto. So with this in mind, once this order opens, I'll have access to 3 times the amount of XRP that I had before. The cool thing is I'm using XRP as my collateral. So let's say XRP goes in doubles, right? And I'm on 3x leverage. I would normally get 100% gain if I just have XRP, but instead I'm using leverage. So I would then get 3x times the gain, so 300% return. But I'm getting 300% profit paid in XRP tokens, which have doubled in price. So my USDT value is much higher because I use XRP as collateral. Super cool. And most exchanges don't let you do this, but you can check this out underneath the video, like I said. Now let's get over to what Tom Lee just said. He actually talked about Bitcoin, but this has direct ties to XRP. So let me play this for you. We'll start right here.
What is it moving with? Just risk assets at this point? It got back to an all-time high, which you were forecasting as well. But now I think, what are we, 104 this morning? So it's pulled back.
Yeah, I think it's consolidating. It makes sense. Bitcoin is responding to global liquidity, which is moving up, and I think anticipating a dovish Fed next year. So that's a tailwind for Bitcoin. But, Bitwise has a great stat. 95% of all Bitcoin's been mined, but 95% of the world doesn't own Bitcoin. So I just think that there's still a huge demand versus supply imbalance, meaning there's a lot more potential buyers of Bitcoin over the next 10 years. And so I think there's a lot of upside into year end.
Okay, we'll get to the price prediction here in a second, but that's a crazy stat, and I talk about a lot on the channel. 95% of the Bitcoin has been mined, and Bitcoin was fractions of a penny 16 years ago. So 95% has hit the market, and the price has gone up 10 million percent, something like that. Like, it's insane. So with that in mind, XRP is very similar, right? There's just this massive supply at the beginning, and then a lot of people buy it and want to hold it for the long term. But let me keep on playing this for you.
You're like 150 target.
Yeah, 150, maybe 200, even 250 this year.
What? 150 to 200 to even 250. And what's you don't have a terminal price on that, do you?
Well, it's I think at a minimum it should have the same network value as gold. Mm-hmm. And if you look at above ground gold, it's probably 23 trillion. So that would be, 1.2 million for Bitcoin. But I think Bitcoin is more valuable than gold. So, Bitcoin could be 2 million, 3 million long term.
Okay, let's pause it there for a second. He said a lot there. So he's saying $150,000 to $250,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. Keep in mind, Bitcoin dominance is still really high. So let's say XRP doubles what Bitcoin does, and Bitcoin goes up 50%. Well, that would put XRP around a $4.30 price. If Bitcoin doubles and XRP doubles what Bitcoin does, then we're going to see it go much, much higher. With that in mind, though, what's so interesting to me is Tom Lee saying Bitcoin is going to be worth maybe twice what gold's worth. He thinks it's more valuable. Something that Tom Lee doesn't describe here, though, and I'm sure he knows this, but he didn't really get into it. Gold's market cap is a moving target. Like, gold has gone up 44% in the last year. Over the last 5 years, it's up 101%. So assuming that gold's market cap is going to be still 23 trillion, I think is wrong. right? When you take into account some price increases, let's say 5% a year for the next 20 years, and how much supply is going to hit, we'll just say 1.5% a year, which is on the lower end of the spectrum. That's another 35% of gold will be added to the supply, right, over the next 20 years. That gives you an insane price. Sorry, I was changing the numbers around a little bit earlier. That gives you an insane market cap of gold of $80 trillion. So if Bitcoin's worth twice that, that means that Bitcoin would be worth $160 trillion, which is $8 million. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, if you're someone that's bullish on XRP and you think, maybe it doesn't even gain on Bitcoin, but it just stays level with Bitcoin in terms of market cap, right? Maybe XRP is still worth around 5% of Bitcoin's market cap in 5-6% of Bitcoin's market cap in 20 years, and Bitcoin goes up to $8 million. That means XRP would go up 80x in price, $160 XRP. Now, there's some people that are going to say, hey, XRP is not going to continue growing. Like Bitcoin's going to be in a class of its own because of the scarcity. There are some people that will make a case that money will just continue to flood into Bitcoin as the most well-known crypto asset. Just keep in mind, there will be OGs that do want to rotate out. And I think if XRP and Ripple continue to gain more users, continue to have a use case, and continue to grow in adoption, right? If they actually do get a significant number of banks to use this to transact, I think it will probably continue to grow. Most people don't look out 20 years for XRP. Most people look out 20 years for Bitcoin, or a lot of people do. And I think it's much harder with something like XRP, it's much harder with Ethereum and Solana. Keep in mind, these have like active teams and, the founders and stuff. Bitcoin is kind of in a league of its own in terms of like escape velocity. Like Bitcoin's made it. It's probably never going to zero. But there are continuously cryptos, even in the top 10 that go down to zero. And there is key man risk, there's dev risk, there's operational risk. So I think these other cryptos are riskier, but still, it's kind of crazy when you look out 20 years at what size some of these cryptos could be. Let me know your thoughts, though, underneath the video. Let me know if you think XRP is going to $5, $10, $100. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to hit 160. I'm just looking at the numbers saying, hey, if Bitcoin hits $8 million per coin and XRP stays in line with it, it's got significant upside. Let me know your thoughts underneath the video. Again, if you do want to trade, you can trade XRP, you can trade Solana, you can trade Bitcoin with the underlying collateral or USDT over on BYDeFi. So definitely check that out. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.